Why do my bones crack? I get that one a lot. I also get, is it good for me? So here's as simple of an answer as I can get. Why do they crack? It's not really your bones that crack, it's your joints. And actually the cracking sound is the formation of gas inside the joint capsule. Here's a picture of a joint capsule.
Here you see two bones articulating with cartilage at the ends. There's ligaments to support its intended movements, a membrane, and joint capsule, which surround and seal the entire bony joint cavity, which is a space filled with synovial fluid.
And when that space gets stretched, such as when it's being adjusted or manipulated, the volume inside the joint capsule will increase.
Here's a good illustration of the same number of molecules filling different sized spaces. When this happens, the pressure changes.
And so that's when you get that classic pop. And you may remember from high school physics and chemistry, and if you do, that's great. This would be a kinesiological application of Boyle's ideal gas law, which
looks like this. In our case, N, R, and T are constants, so the relationship is purely between volume and pressure.
It explains why when a volume increases, the same number of molecules that are inside it need to expand to fill that space. And when you have a fluid, it will expand into a gas, and that's when you hear the audible sound. Is popping or cracking my joints good for them? Like all things in life, the answer to this question is yes and no, and it depends. Like all good things, a healthy balance is important. Too much cracking can be a sign of instability. For example, if you're that person that every time you turn your head to the left, something clicks or pops, and it happens 25 times a day, that's generally bad.
I'll get back to this slide in a second, but basically, if your joints are popping uncontrollably, you've likely got a structural imbalance that causes the joint to aberrantly move outside of its active and passive ranges of motion.
Appropriately delivered physical medicine, like a chiropractic adjustment, is almost always good. And the reason why is because they maintain and improve the quality and function of your joints.
So back to this illustration. It's a simple model of joint function. Close your fist tightly, then open your hand all the way that it can go. That's active range of motion. Now use one hand to push it a little more open. That's passive range of motion. Now push it a little more until it won't go any further, but before it feels uncomfortable, and you found the elastic barrier and that anatomical limit you'd probably not want to cross. If we don't pay attention to these ranges of motion, this model will fold up on us like an old-fashioned hand fan closing, and it causes joint restriction.
In general, our bodies will become restricted over time. And that can be because of a response to injury. It can be a combination of lifestyle, nutrition factors. Mostly it's just human nature, though. You've probably noticed over time that you don't get more flexible with age. And so one of my favorite analogies as to why popping and cracking joints can be good for you is ice cubes in a tray. In nature, there's a friction that exists between all different types of matter, even between water and ice. And so inside our joints, that synovial fluid that we were talking about before, it reduces friction between the bones. But if there's no motion, just like ice cubes that have been in the freezer for a while, they will stick to each other. And what's the optimal way to get the cubes out of the tray? A gentle cracking. Adjusting the spine is not that much different because the spine will naturally get restricted. It will naturally get stuck. The longer that the ice cubes are in the freezer, the more they will stick to the tray.
If this was interesting to you, you can find more on my social media accounts or website, drkoloski.com.
Or you can always find me in practice and I can actually help you out and help you unlock all of your blocks.